ladies and gentlemen, and it's and theys and thems, and all whatever pronouns you would wish. Welcome to the Doktor Zeero free Magick Secrets show, where today we have the time to dibble dabble through Doktor Zeero's personal, what you might call a book of shadows or grimoire. It isn't quite extravagant as others make, and I didn't make a big production. I just have my little journals of notes, but they fulfill the same function. And I like to just dive right in, so I didn't paint it up and dress it up and make it nice. But I do have this wonderful thing. So these are all my personal notes I flip through now. And all of these are little astrological things, bits and little pieces of information from tarot and different things. And I'm just going to throw stuff out there randomly that might help, so I can move on from having to ever study or try to pull from this again. So just remember in your magic that correspondence and info, you have to figure out if you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, because south of the equator the season's directions reverse as if in a mirror. Also in Australia, due to its positioning, all ritual directions move counterclockwise, aka sunwise. So that's an important thing to always remember. Tarot resolutions. So something about tarot: the cube, the key, and the grand pentagram. Aha. Double consonants must have the same Hebrew meaning. The cube is also the cube of space, represents also the morphogenic field. If you want to look more into that, I'll have you take it from there. So that's a big key. The only thing that can be known is it originated unity with one point, spiraling a consistent, ever-expanding Fibonacci sequence, of which the phi ratio is somehow its guiding luminescence, inherent trance, and aesthetic hypnosis. Little magic secret about the all. So the word sacrifice, the origin means sacked, or to cut. So it's when you would say cut grain off to offer to the gods. Of course, it didn't have the sacrifice common connotations we have these days in the news. It meant you offer something to the gods. To sack is to offer, you know. So understand that in Egypt they had a 360-day year because they didn't have leap years down, because they envisioned reality and magical reality as a 360-degree sphere. They couldn't see beyond that. That was too perfect. They couldn't see the extra 5 days. Thus, in further lore, the anomalies outside 360 days have special magic significance. Here I have a note: the Shekinah equals possibly the Keter of animation, the God particle, the kernel of the soul, the animating principle. Doo-dee-doo. Pythagoras lived 580 to 500 BC, and his motto was all is number. He says that everything is a matrix of grid energy derived from a central source. I think there's no arrow pointing to that. But here's the mathematical key of the universe. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 1-to-1 ratio, 1-to-2 ratio, 2-to-3 ratio, 3-to-5 ratio, 5-to-8 ratio, 1 as a prime number, half as in like 0.5, 2/3, 3/5, 5/8. Each one is the sum of previous two numbers. There you go. Loop-de-doot-de-doo. You're not ready for that. With mysteries of Dayot. With inner plane expansion, Dayot transfers all inner plane circuitry to the new invigorated Sephirotic tree of life, perpetually at flow. This time, man is the God creator. He recreates himself through self-analysis as the bedrock blueprint constantly upgrades. Woo! Alchemy notes: primal first substance, possibly electricity. Another person says ectoplasm. Salt, sulfur, and mercury can create any element except gold. Gold is the only thing that cannot be turned into something, or anything turned into it. This was the flaw of the alchemists. They could change everything except gold, and it was gold they were after, but they figured out how to do everything else, because the only thing can't be is gold. It must be naturally formed. Gold is an element and a mineral. No other element has more uses. A mineral is a naturally occurring inorganic element or compound. Minerals can be metallic or non-metallic, like talc. A crystal is a crystalline solid, a highly arranged structure, forming a crystal lattice that extends in all directions. Okay, you got in Judaism, to activate Kabbalistic magic, one must first perform kavana, personal Keter point, thought form. An amalgam of intention, meaning, concentration, devotion at once. It's their magical pilot light. Tarot, Tarak, Egyptian, the royal path. The mysteries, quote unquote, refer to any knowledge that must be understood in visionary terms. It cannot be expressed. It has to be experienced, much as a surreal dream that makes sense only to the dreamer. The greater mysteries are mysteries represented in archetypes we all share in our collective unconscious. Let's see. Out of order. We've talked about this before. Necromancy notes. Oh, you guys aren't ready for this. Oh, that one's about ghosts. Different ghost equipment that people use these days. I'm not really comfortable with putting that out. If you want to find that stuff, you go on YouTube. I'm not going to stop you, but see. First, a little note here. Astrological influences cannot be understood without a natal chart. To operate astrological magic accurately, one must know their own astrological statistics and how they correspond to influence your current placement, both geographically and zodiacally. Second, the sun moon are the eyes of God. Therefore, the quote-unquote witching hour is not just midnight, but 11:01 to 11:11 a.m. and p.m. 11:11 a.m. is vastly stronger. 3 a.m. is also a very, very special one, but that's the moon. That's the lunar number. More powerful than moon working, the direct power of the sun is stronger than the natural solar panel of the highly suspicious moon and its secondary light. Why 11:01 to 11:11? Research the esoteric meaning of 11:1. 11.01. There's a whole occult thing there. You need to go to Google and type 11T, E-L-E-V-E-N-T-Y, space 1, O-N-E, 11T1. 11.01. Research the Fibonacci sequence, which subsumes Kabbalah and Tarot, the entire universe, and provides a perfect English cipher of Kabbalah. Woohoo! Talking about the fifth element, correspondences. This is all I could do. 4 seasons of tarot change through all kinds of tarot decks. If you want to get to the bottom of it, a lot of things. Abracadabra, very important word. Aramaic, abra space K-E -D-A-B-R-A. It means diminish as the word. It's a cleansing illness rite. That was one of the main functions of it, but it's got other functions as well. A magic lateral, quote unquote, is a graph of correspondences, just so you know. A horizontal system of classification. Lateral systems are the basis of magical classification. By understanding correspondences, a magician can always influence something. Sebek, Egyptian crocodile god, signifying the grossest form of matter. Tet, the Tet symbol. It's the ancient glyph of the snake. It's also the glyph of the earth, the Malkut glyph. That's nice to know. Move on to the next. The Theban Alphabet. You know, all the little alphabets, the strange, supposedly, most of them, they just seem bunk to me. You know, they're later inventions. You can't really, there's a few that are interesting to look in, and they're really old, but I don't want to push those on anyone. You'll find them if you're looking for them. You'll know what I'm talking about. And his private conversation is different with Doktor Zeero than what he pushes out in his free Magic Secret show, because there has to be at least a little bit of discussion. If I feel that I'm talking about magic that's going to potentially get someone in trouble or create a bad situation, I'm going to steer clear of it. And I try to provide all sorts of healthy alternatives. Now, what you do with your own free time is you, whatever you want to believe, that's fine. Because I present free magic for all. So this isn't exactly PG-13. There's nothing PG-13 about magic. Magic is never safe. Exactly. Witchcraft is not exactly safe. I mean, it's all working with, when you work with energy, you can't really control it. It's just out of your hands. And it depends what kind of energies you work with. But the chakras are energies. They're centers of the astral spiritual body. It's the subconscious inner plane, supposedly. Number 7 is crown. Number 6 is third eye. Number 5, throat. Number 4, heart. Number 3, navel. Number 2, number 2, sex. Number 1, base of the spine. The order of the Hebrew alphabet and their places as the tree. Blah, 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 blah. Talking about Golden Dawn. Talking about the night. None of this matters. Well, I mean, it matters, but you guys don't need to know what gods, are part of the moon or are seen as part of Jupiter or something. When the moon is in a certain sign, the lunar attributes will be influenced by the characteristic of that sign because the actual constellations vary in size while signs are assigned 30 degrees each. The moon may sometimes appear in a constellation different from its official sign. Egyptian parts of the soul. Kab's, individuality. Ku, magical power. Ba, penetrating mind. Ab, the heart as human will. Hati, instinct. Kat, body. Keep these laws in mind, and these are, I guess, in the end, in your own head, but law of knowledge, law of self-knowledge, law of cause and effect, law of synchronicity, law of association, law of sympathy, law of similarity, law of contagion, law of positive attraction, law of negative attraction, law of names, law of words of power, law of personification, law of invocation, law of evocation, and law of identification. Doop-de-doo. This was a tarot reading. Okay, learning about it's important to learn about the motion of the planets around the sun. It's important to learn about the Akabkir. I don't really completely know. So here's a list. This is a random one. You're going to like this. You want to bust out the pen and pencil if you haven't already, or a pen, whatever you have. So if you were like a super wizard and like Thanos from the Avengers movies, he's got that cool gauntlet with like the cool stones. So if you had to make like the awesomest like wizard gauntlet, and you had to like go take down Ganon, and you were like, Link, and you were like, yeah, sticking it to Dracula. Here's what you need for like a cool gauntlet, and these are all the stones that you need to go fight true metaphysical evil with. So this is your big cocktail. So write all these down: black tourmaline, citrine plus amethyst, black obsidian, lunastone, moonstone, flint, tiger's eye, black agate, clear agate, dendritic agate, septarian, serpentine, angel, phantom, amphibal quartz, jade, hematite, shattuckite, bloodstone green heliotrope, amazonite, pneumite, quartz, glass, a little piece of glass as well. And to top it off, you want to get some in the raw: black tourmaline, watermelon tourmaline, azurite, pink tourmaline, apatite, azurite, malachite hybrid, lapis lazuli, very important, rhodonite, magnetite, peridot, chrysolite, and petalite. Now that is like if you have evil spirits around the house. That's like, that scene of Little Nicky where they put that pineapple up Hitler's butt. That's what that does to poltergeists and such. You got some problems. You don't got to worry about the witchcraft rituals. You don't got to do any of that cleansing shit. I just put together that Thanos gauntlet I just mentioned. All right. And the black tourmaline. In the end, big magic secret: dark entities hate black tourmaline. They do. Something about the vibrational quality. I don't know. When you hold in your hand, doesn't it feel like cold, like a cavern, like death? It's like, if I just had to guess in a superstitious way, it's like it reminds ghosts they're dead and they don't like it. It feels weird, so they run away. Maybe it's that simple. That's the vibe it gives off. Why wouldn't ghosts get the same vibe that you get if they're just like you? I guess if ghosts exist, but we don't go there in the Doktor Zeero Free Magic Secrets Show. We're just talking from a superstitious point of view. Adam Cabman, you know that. So the name of wizard in Anglo-Saxon is Wysard, Wysard. Warlock comes from Old English verloga. It means traitor or liar. It's not a male witch. And when it was used in terms of a witch, it was more like the F-bomb or calling someone, or you say an N-bomb, It's like almost like a racial slur, kind of thing, used against someone because of their religion and stuff. So if you got anybody out there, it's like, hey, I'm a metal dude and I really don't know what I'm talking about. I'm a warlock, bro. They're kind of don't really, unless they know the story and they're like playing up, being called like a loser by society, and that's cool. But if they don't know that, you know what I mean. So it also gives Sabian/Sapien. In Spain, this was the name of wizard. Vizier, it was the name of wizard in Arabic. Gwyd, it was a pre-Druid Irish shaman. There's a story that the Gwyd, because there's Gwydion, is the like trickster magic god of the Celtic areas of the British Isles. So there's this thing that the name Gwyd was the name of like the witches and stuff before the Gaels came with their Druids. That's the idea. There were people hanging around Ireland and Scotland a long time before the Gaels came in, sailed in, and they supposedly brought their Druids with them. And then what happened was supposedly the official Druid class of their kings and stuff, whatever, they kind of merged with like the witch doctors and the shamans of whoever was populating. And this is how you start to get this Druid model of like Ovate and Druid together, where it was like the official witch doctors subsumed the wild primitive ones and made them part of their whole thing, and then like kind of it all just gelled together. Because in the end, the Druids weren't a religion; they were like more like referees. Like they were referees of the tribes of the Celtic lands. Like the Celtic Empire was basically a bunch of anarchic family tribes, but they were all held together because they had similar culture and beliefs and such. And the Druids were like the referees that would go in between the tribes, and the Druids couldn't be attacked or killed. They were seen as mediators. And they were like overseers. They were like a travel around priest, wizard, jack of all trade guys. But, of course they were corrupt, and who knows what we don't really know all the ins and outs of the preaching, but that was their role. So talking about that for a little bit. Theoretical stimulus gradient system. 1, colors of high intensity and luminance, including intensive stimulants. Number 2, rich, powerful, forceful colors, strong but not strident. Number 3, hard and stable colors with firm contrast that produce no emotional overtones. Number 4, sedative and tranquil colors. Some same person linked them to voice sounds. Scream, command, speaking tone, whisper. Wise men. The wise men of the Bible were Zoroastrian priests. Some planetary minerals. We already went over this stuff. Egyptian tarot. Maybe this is where I'll end it. Egyptian tarot. This is the quick way to understand their philosophy. And just like the tarot trumps, tell a story with the Fool at start. The way the Egyptian tarot ends is the 8 is justice, the 11 is strength. And there's a reason why. I don't have to go into it now. But the end result is the 0, the Fool, is not the beginning of the sequence. They let the magus, the magician, be the Aleph, or the number 1, instead of Fool, like the Rider Waite or the Golden Dawn, the way they do it. So the idea is that if the final card in the sequence, the number 22, if that's upside down, that would be like the Pluto, like you failed card. It'd be like getting the world upside down, number 21 in a regular deck, where it's just not good. So it's basically like if you get that card up, it means, or if you get that card upwards, it sends you to Pluto towards the ascending heavens. If you get it downward, it's like going to the underworld. So it's like the Pluto and both the final results are number 21, the judgment, but depending which way it is. So the tau, yeah, you get the T, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I just want to read it off. And so just understand the starting sequence with the magician and then ending with the Fool. So the human will, it stands for will. The human will, number 1, crossover, the magician. Enlightened by science, 2, and manifested by action, 3, creates realization, 4, of a power which it uses or abuses according to good or bad inspiration, 5, in the circle which has been traced for it by the laws of universal order. After having surmounted the trial, which has been imposed by divine wisdom, trial 6, he will enter by his victory, 7, into the possession of the work it has created and establishing his equilibrium. 8, upon the axis of prudence. 9, he will rule the oscillations of fortune. 10, which is the wheel of fortune in the other deck. The force of a man, which would be strength, sanctified by sacrifice, which would be the upside down hangman, which is the voluntary offer of himself upon the altar of devotion or expiation, triumphs over death. This transformation, number 13, which would be the death card, raises him beyond the tomb into the serene region of infinite progress and opposes the reality of initiative, which would be the alchemist card or the holy angel guardian card. Was it temperance, I think. To the eternal falsehood of fatality, 15, that'd be the devil card. The course of time is marked by ruins, the tower. But beyond every ruin, one sees reappear the dawn of hope. That would be the, what's the card? You know the card. Or the twilight of deception, 18, that'd be the moon. Unceasingly, man aspires to that which ever flees from him, and the sun of happiness, the sun, will only rise for him beyond the tomb. Judgment. After the renewal of his being by death, which opens to him a higher sphere of will, intelligence, and action. Every will that lets itself be governed by the instincts of the flesh abdicates its liberty and is bound to the expiation, number 22, Pluto or underworld, that's the end result, of its errors. On the contrary, every will which unites itself to deity in order to... okay, I'm messing up all the Pluto thing. But I'm going to finish this sentence. Every will that lets itself be governed by the instincts of the flesh abdicates its liberty and is bound to the expiation of its errors. On the contrary, every will which unifies itself to deity in order to manifest truth and work justice enters even in this life into a participation of divine power over beings and things. Recompense. Eternal of freed spirits. Okay, that's it for the Doktor Zeero Free Magic Show. I almost completely butchered it, and I kind of did, but you should look into Egyptian Tarot. It's fucking awesome. CC Zane, Brotherhood of Light, Egyptian Tarot. You need the book, not just the cards. And when you get the cards, get the big ones. Pay the extra $5 and get the big ones, right? Because the small ones, they're not as knockout. You need them big in your hand to look really cool. They don't look as cool shrunken. But I'm telling you, the hardcover book that comes with that is one of the best books, the best book on tarot outside of anything Israel Regardi did or Golden Dawn put out or any Nefesh Levi or any of these people. So anyway, that's your hit subscribe, let people know. Enjoy.